Is Erdogan's son the Antichrist? Is he the Antichrist? One man's dream and the mark of the beast may just confirm it all. Be sure to watch all the way to the end of this one. You won't want to miss any of the amazing surprises that are going to knock your socks into the next dimension. Today, live on Makayo Messenger. Welcome to Makayo Messenger. It's wonderful to be with you once again. And, well, I told you that this channel is being obstructed, and I think you just witnessed it. So give me a great thumbs up out there if you would, and let me know that you can hear my sound and see my video. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I just started this video once before and we had a lot of issues. So thank you so much for being with me right now, right here, right this moment. I got so many incredible things to share with you tonight that are going to blow you away. So does it sound good? Does it look good? Are we ready to rock out there, people? Because this is going to rock, and we want to sufficiently rock tonight, you know what I'm saying? So we need good sound, and we need good video, we need all that good stuff. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Looks like we're so far so good. We're on a roll. All right, let's rock it. So this guy wants to be the Sultan of Swing, as Dire Straits would say. Yeah, his name is Erdogan. Heard this guy? Yeah, and he wants to return and resurrect the Ottoman state. Now, you may have heard him over the recent days attacking Christianity directly, threatening to the Crescent. Whoops. I think I grabbed the wrong thing there. Hold on one second. Man, thanks guys so much for bearing with me live. You know, when we're live, things happen, you know, and you don't know what's going to happen exactly. That's kind of the fun of it and excitement of it, and it can also be the challenge. So he said that he wants to take on the cross. Now, you never want to say those kinds of things because Jesus is going to get involved, and you don't want to be on the bad end of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the sword coming out of Jesus' mouth to be coming towards you. And yet that's kind of what he said here. He says, hey, Wes, do you want to ignite a new struggle in the Crescent against the cross? Now, he didn't even say end of the cross. You know, he didn't say like, hey, we're in this together. It's like, no, we're against you. And it's like, man, you don't want to be against the cross because, boy, don't get cross with the cross because it's going to come back and bite you, if you know what I'm saying. But hey, this is all going according to plan. And thank you for the sounds great out there and the thumbs and everything. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate that. And thanks for bearing with me with those challenges. Guys, we should have seen it coming, right? It was right there in Revelation all along. The 7 churches of Revelation, we often call them that, and we talk about Smyrna and Pergamum and Ephesus and Laodicea and so forth. But we forget that they're actually all in Turkey, modern-day Turkey. So we should have known that Turkey was going to play a crucial role in these end times. Of course, we do know that from Ezekiel 38, but just how great still remains to be seen, although according to him, he's ready to go for it, and go for it means he's ready to get a. He's cruising for a bruising. Let's just put it that way, right? So it's right there in front of us all this time. Now, this guy, he doesn't just want to be. He can't wait to be king. He doesn't just want to rule Turkey. He wants to rule the world. And critics have attacked him, saying he's acting like, as you see the last line there, an Ottoman sultan, and that he wants to restore the Ottoman Empire. Now, the Ottoman Empire used to rule all of the land of Israel and parts of Africa and all the way over there to the east as well. I mean, it's a huge empire, and he wants to restore that, you see. And I think a lot of people of his vein are supporting that idea as well. Here, a famous philosopher said, Erdogan in Turkey is basically trying to create something like the Ottoman Caliphate, with him as caliph, supreme leader, throwing his weight around all over the place and destroying the remnants of democracy in Turkey at the same time. So that is what he's after and what he's doing. So what is a caliphate exactly? A caliphate is an institution or public office under the leadership of an Islamic steward with the title of caliph, a person considered a political religious successor to the Islamic prophet what they consider a prophet, Muhammad, and a leader of the entire Muslim world. So he wants to lead the entire Muslim world, guys. He wants to take over the Middle East. So he's seeing this as his golden opportunity. This is his chance to make that happen. Now, you guys are still with me out there, right? Just want to check, because I know we got good things going on. So if you wouldn't mind, just some comments out there will be helpful. Thank you so much. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about what we see here in Ezekiel 38. And it's very intriguing because it talks here about hooks. Oh, amen. All right. You can see well. You can hear well. Thank you. Appreciate that. Means a lot. So in Ezekiel 38, it talks about, and God talks about, saying, I will turn you around, put hooks into your jaws, and lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen, all splendidly clothed, a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now, it's interesting, he says handling swords, because that kind of reminds you of a sultan. Sultans have those interesting scimitar swords that they have. You often see, kind of in Indiana Jones when the sultan was, or I don't know that he was a sultan, but he was of that ilk, with his scimitar sword, and then he famously just takes out the gun and takes him out, right? So in any case, they're going to be handling swords. So that kind of points to a certain type of person, right? Off with their heads, as we've been talking about, right? In Revelation 13. So that's kind of interesting. But what's also interesting here is talking about these hooks in the jaws. Now, for a while I've said, boy, it's kind of strange to think of Erdogan needing hooks in his jaws because he's chomping at the bit. He can't wait to get into Israel. But maybe it has a different meaning. We know Mr. Poot of the Inn, I see you mentioned there, is someone who would probably need more of the hooks. He's up there doing stuff in Ukraine right now, so that's why. And he may yet be a person for that. But let's take a look at these words real quick. So the word, it actually doesn't say "I will turn thee back" as it says here. It actually says you return. The word is shuv, like teshuvah. We've been talking a lot about that, about returning to the Lord, and that's the word shuv there. And then the next word is a natan. Now, you may recognize that word. I'm going to share something in just a second on that, natan, and that actually means to give. And then hooks is basically hooks or chains, could also mean chains. And then jaws or the mouth or the jawbone. And so, made me kind of think of this a little bit differently. Now, the word natan, before I get to the hooks here, you may remember this young lad who had a dream, a vision. His name was Natan. You remember that? I gotta skip this to show you this. But his name was Natan, and he was a boy who had a vision. He died basically, and he had a vision of the destruction of Israel and what was going to happen. And so his name is Natan. And so I thought that was kind of intriguing that God says, return Natan, and then the hooks and the jaws. Now, I thought about the hooks and the jaws, and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting too, because maybe it's not so much a hook pulling him, but something that's pushing him, driving him. And jaws could mean something that they talk about, something they speak about. So when I thought of the old time hook, right, we get this image of like Captain Hook, right? Kind of this rounded hook kind of action. I thought, well, wow, that looks a lot like this, which is Turkey's flag. Could this be the hook that we're talking about here? The hook that's in his jaw, because as he was speaking a lot over the last few days and sending out his rhetoric and hatred and his attacks, right, against the cross, could this be the hook that we're referring to? And I thought about Mr. Poutin as well, and he also has a hook. He's trying to resurrect as well. If you think about it, what he's trying to do in Ukraine, he's trying to restore what they had during the U.S. to the SR. And that, too, has a very similar hook, you could argue, as part of it as well. Then, of course, I couldn't leave out Mr. Chuckster. And I thought, well, what about Chucky? And I thought, well, isn't it interesting? He wants to be buried in Jerusalem. And one of the things it says here in Ezekiel, it says, it will come to pass in that day, I will give Gog a burial place there in Israel. So I thought, well, that's kind of intriguing, too. So, we talked before about Gog, how Gog could be bigger than an individual. Because I do kind of wonder, like, okay, because it talks about Gog being buried there. And I'm like, okay, so is Is Erdogan going to literally go there physically and die on a battlefield? I kind of doubt that, right? Or are we talking more about a movement of Gog that's going to die out there that perhaps could be supported by all of those individuals? We know there's a lot of players involved. In fact, here it talks about the young lions, and we know the United Kingdom has the lion as their symbol, but they're not the only ones talked about in Ezekiel that have a lion. Also, Ethiopia and Libya, or Put and Cush, also have the lion as their symbol. So the young lions are with them, it talks about here. And what's also interesting, it says, on that day, it'll come to pass and thoughts will arise in your mind. You'll make an evil plan. So it's kind of like he always wanted to be ruler. And so he's making his evil plan. But could we be talking about more than one individual, even though we're kind of talking about them collectively as one? It says, I will go up against the land of unwalled villages. I will go to a peaceful people who dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take plunder and to take booty, to stretch out your hand against the waste places that are again inhabited, and against a people gathered from the nations, which is exactly what we have now in Israel. People gathered from all the nations, the diaspora, and they all came back. They've all were invited to come back and given free citizenship. Just come on down. Who have acquired livestock and goods, who dwell in the midst of the land. And then it talks about Sheba, Dedan, the merchants of Tarshish, and all their young lions will say to you, have you come to take plunder? Have you gathered your army to take booty, to carry away silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, to take great plunder? Now, you know, we know someone like Chucky, for example. I mean, he's not going to outright come against Israel, right? But behind the scenes, they're playing both sides, guys. There's no sides anymore. It's just there's evil, good and evil. Those are the sides. But they're playing both sides of the fence, and they may act like a friend on the surface, while meanwhile they're sponsoring them from behind, as we know the U.S. of A. did with this whole invasion when they gave the money to I to the R to the A to the N, and then they gave it over to HAMAS. So it all just kind of works that way. But what's interesting about this whole booty and plunder thing is Erdogan specifically said something about this, which I found kind of intriguing. He's quoted, he gave a speech saying, in our civilization, conquest is not occupation or looting for the booty, right? We just read about. It's establishing the dominance of the justice that who they consider God, Allah, commanded in the region. First of all, our nation removed the oppression from the areas that it conquered. It established justice. This is why our civilization is one of conquest. Right. So in one moment he says, oh, we're not of conquest. You know, our conquest is not our occupation or looting, right? But he says, but we are of conquest. And he says, Turkey will take what is its right in the Mediterranean Sea, in the Aegean Sea, in the Black Sea. So do you understand? So he's talking out of both sides of his mouth here. One minute he says, I'm not about the booty. And then another minute he says, but we're going to take what's ours. See? So the plunder, he's coming for the plunder, as we see in Ezekiel. Very intriguing words there from Mr. Erdogan. And then one last thought here before we get into the mysterious SON. And that is that it says after he's buried there that those who live in the area are going to live off the fuel of the weapons for 7 years. And we know we've all been talking about 7 years. Even the devil's talking about 7 years. And as far as the devil's concerned, that 7 years has begun this year. And we know they have a 7-year plan. And we know that Chuckster's going to come here this month. They're going to begin and in the beginning of next month confirm that plan. Both they did that in the UN already. Now he's going to do it as well. So very interesting timing with this 7 years. Could it be, perhaps, that Erdogan is taken out, but his SON takes over for 7 years? And we're going to see a connection with that with the MAHDI. The MAHDI is the Messiah that the Muslims are waiting for. And we're going to talk about how he may in fact be their fulfillment of that. Now, again, that's all false prophecy and a false God, but it doesn't matter. That's, as far as they're concerned, that's what they believe, right? So we have to understand that, and we have to examine that. Okay, so, and just, I have a couple other videos here on Turkey. I'm on the site. Be sure to check those out. But one is about the earthquake that recently happened. So Turkey's kind of been involved from this thing from the beginning. We've had all these earthquakes in Turkey. We know there are a lot of mountains in Turkey, and Gog means mountain, and Magog means land of the mountains. So that also is kind of significant to consider here as well as we go forward. Okay, so I want to talk to you about a dream that someone I know and trust had and recounted. And this was on a chat group, and he shared this dream, and then someone else actually responded and shared some other things I'm going to share with you as well. And in the process, really prompted this video that I'm doing for you tonight. So I want to thank that brother and sister and all those involved in that chat out there for helping to bring this to light, because this is very, very intriguing. And boy, are we going to reveal some things tonight, guys. This is very exciting stuff. So check this out. Here's his dream that he sent word for word. I haven't changed anything here, so if there's any typos, it's just as it is. But he probably was speaking into a phone or something. But I'm going to read it to you here and just share this dream with you, okay? So he says, I was in a car with a woman who was driving. I was heading to Chicago. I could see the skyline. I saw a purple moon coming out, then a second one right after the first one. Now, many people have had multiple moon dreams, right? So that's very intriguing in and of itself. It says, then I got a scare, and I asked God, what's going on? He told me it's time then. It's time. He told me it's time. Then I said to him, well, why isn't everyone paying attention? And he said, because everyone is with their heads down, not looking at the signs I've placed in the heavens. Then he lifted me out of the car. I knew it was the rapture, but he took me to this place underground. So he knew it was a rapture, but instead of going up to heaven, God actually took him underground, far into the ground. And when I saw a blonde woman in the hallway running, turned to a room with double doors like hospitals, but it wasn't a hospital. She had blonde hair, short to her shoulders, with a white robe like a doctor. She was very excited, and I was outside this facility in midair with my God. She ran and told this young man who was white with black hair with a lab coat too. I saw his name, but God erased it from my brain. She told him, it's time, the rapture happened. Then both started smiling very diabolically with a Grinch-like face. He turned his head to the right where I was in midair, and he saw me. I saw his eyes. Then I knew and understood that he was the Antichrist. He knew who I was, but before he could say anything, my God took me out. Then I woke up. Okay, so wow, what an amazing dream, right? And what an intriguing dream, like interesting, like what's going on in this dream? So he's driving in a car, he sees a purple moon, then he sees another one, it's only a purple moon, and then he gets taken out of the car, and instead of going up in the rapture, even though he knows it's the rapture, he goes down into the ground to get out of the rain, and he sees this woman, blonde woman, running through, and it was also described as like, it was like a bunker that he was in, and it wasn't, it was like a hospital, but not a hospital, and this blonde woman goes through these double doors, and she finds this other guy there, younger guy with dark hair, and she tells him it's time. The rapture happened, and that they're excited because it's like, finally we got those pesky Christians out of the way. We can finally do our wicked things that we want to do. And so they both diabolically smile like, it's all ours now. Woo-hoo-hoo. And then he actually, the Antichrist who's in the dream looks at this person who is having the dream and calls him out. Like he sees him there. He's like, oh snap, he's looking at me. And he knew when he looked at him that this is the Antichrist. So that's the dream, right? So he shares this dream on a chat, right? And somebody else responds and says, wow, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to share something with you guys as well. And I don't know if it relates, but this is what I feel like I need to share. And what they shared was that in Islam, when someone dies, they pray for the MAHDI or the Messiah to come, their Messiah to come and save them. And that as people have been dying a lot lately in the Middle East, as they're burying them, they're crying out, they're calling out for the MAHDI to come, right? And what this person said was, there's two places they believe that the MAHDI may come from. And the first one they said was they believe it may be MBS from Saudi Arabia. This is what they believe, right? Or Mohammed bin Salman is his name, okay? And he is the Saudi prince. And so she shared that, and she put that up and put a picture of him up. And the other person who had the dream said, no, that's not him. And she said, well, okay, I just want to share with you. She said, well, they also think that they believe that the Mahdi, what we would consider the Antichrist, but the Mahdi will actually come from Turkey. That's actually where they believe in their writings. So the Hadith is not the Quran, but it's kind of like the Talmud for the Jews. It's like these holy writings that they consider to be respectable, and that they believe is true. It's they don't believe it's necessarily the word of God, but they believe it's going to happen that way. They're like the prophets writing, and they believe that the Mahdi, this Messiah, will come from Turkey. And so he said, well, and the guy who had a dream, he's like, well, I don't know, but they were talking about Erdogan, and they said, well, he's kind of old. He's like, no, he's like not Erdogan. It was a young guy with black hair. And so somebody else in chat said, well, let me look into it, and said, well, maybe he has a son, So they started looking into it, and his one son doesn't have black hair, and he's kind of has like a sort of reddish brownish hair, and it's kind of balding even. But they found this picture of this mystery son who's very difficult to find any information about online, and they put this picture up. And as soon as he saw that picture, he said, that's him. That's him. That's the guy from my dream. That's who I saw. And they said, whoa, okay, wow, that's amazing. No way. And they're like, well, what about his wife? Is his wife blonde, right? Does he have a blonde wife? And so they looked into it, and they found this picture of his wife. And of course, she is blonde. So he said, and that's her. That's the woman I saw in my dream. So it was the man he saw in his dream, and it was the woman he saw in his dream. That's them. That's who I saw. So we're like, wow, okay, no way. This is crazy. And so this was brought to my attention, and I thought, well, that sounds pretty amazing. That seems like something I should look into. Now, as you know, if you follow this channel, I don't do a lot on dreams and visions. Don't have anything against dreams and visions. It's just not my specialty. And, I'm always a little bit like, okay, that's interesting, when it comes to dreams and visions. But for me, I always want to get down to, well, what does the Bible say? That's usually where I live. But man, when I heard this, I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing right there. And it intrigued me to think, is there anything to this? Because this guy is a ghost, okay? They literally call him the ghost son. And I'll show you this here. They call him the ghost son. He is like non-existent. And as we know in Scripture, in Thessalonians, right, it talks about how the Antichrist will be revealed. How you don't see him right now, right? Like you don't know who he is. He's hidden from us. At least you get that sense from Scripture. 3 times it actually says revealed here. It says, let no one in any way deceive you, for it will not come unless the apostasy comes first, or the departing, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction. Ooh, boy, it kind of gives another meaning to son of destruction, because he's the son of someone who wants to destroy Israel right now, who wants to be the caliph, who wants to be the sultan. He's the son of that destruction. It says, and you know what restrains him now, so that in his time he will be revealed, right? And he says, then that lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will slay with his breath of his mouth and bring to an end by the appearance of his coming. So I thought, wow, I mean, when I put it together, I was like, wow, it's amazing. It's amazing enough to consider, right? But this idea that the Antichrist is not something maybe we even know about, but someone who has yet to be revealed to us and is being kept a secret. Well, that's the case with this son. They call him the ghost son, because if you search online right now, you'll have a hard time finding any pictures about him and finding any information about him at all. It's kept very hidden, very under wraps. So that's why they call him the ghost son, because it's like he has a son. It's his eldest son. He is in line to the throne in Turkey, and yet nobody knows where he is, what he's doing. I mean, it's very secretive, his life that he's living. So I was starting to look into this. Now, this guy, and I don't know what, they have a ship there because he's also a ship owner. But this is him, once again, okay? And basically what happened is he ran someone over with his car and KILLED'd them, okay? And she was a famous classical music singer, actually. And he didn't have a license at the time, was out driving, and ran her over. And she died. So they wanted to put him in jail for a few years. And, of course, he's the son of Erdogan. So he gets some special privileges. And basically what Erdogan did is he quickly put his son on a plane and sent him out of the country and basically put him under wraps so that he obviously wouldn't take the rap for taking out this woman right here that you see in the picture. And he has some other shady dealings, it sounds like, with business things and so forth that they talk about in this article. But basically, he's hard to find. It's very hard. You can't find any pictures on him. You can't find a lot of information on him. So you can say, well, maybe he's just hiding out because they don't want him to go to jail. But at this point, his father is the president and could, obviously, as we see with Mr. B, I ain't no senator's son. No. It's like if you're the son of the leader, you obviously can get off of these charges. It happened there in Turkey. So, he could pardon him and so forth. So are there other reasons that this guy is in hiding? Is there other reason he's being kept a secret? Well, okay. So I looked into that a little bit, and again, very few pictures. You can find some wedding photos, and that's about it. You can see the wedding photos. There he is with dad and the bride. Here they're signing their wedding agreement. And then you can also find a couple photos of the car accident, where it says there, back it off a little bit here. It says traffic there on the side. So this was from the car accident that took place. And that's it. That's basically all you can find. Now, if you can find me some more, feel free to send them my way. But very, very challenging, very difficult to find any information and any photos of this man. Apparently he has social media pages but doesn't use them, never posts anything on them. So, and as you notice, not much of a smiling guy, right? I mean, there's some dark forces going on. I mean, it's a lot to get he's got an intense look here. I don't know what's going on here, but does not seem to be filled with the joy, if you know what I'm talking about. So, okay, well, that's intriguing, right? In and of itself, quite a mystery, as Pamela says, right? So, okay, something to consider there, but it gets deeper, okay? We're not done yet. Okay, so the guy's full name is Ahmet Barak Erdogan, okay? Ahmet Barak Erdogan. So he does have a Wikipedia page, but there's very little bit on it. There's no picture of him on it, and just talks where he went to school, talks about the accident that happened, and then his career in like shipping, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. So again, relatively sparse for a guy who's the son of the Sultan, really the heir to the throne of Turkey, and potentially the heir to the throne of the Caliphate that they're going to restore here, it seems, or at least they intend to restore. So that's intriguing in and of itself. And when you think about the idea of, if Erdogan were to die at this time, and then we have 7 years to go, does this guy then take over the throne? Is that what happens? Now, you may have noticed his middle name, but they seem to go by the middle name as a first name, is Barak. Now, we've certainly talked ad nauseum about the fact that Mr. O, his name is Barak, and the fact that Jesus said, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven, which in Hebrew means Barak. But would you be surprised to find out that Barak in Turkish also means lightning? So you mean there's another Barak? Yeah, there's another Barak. So everybody's focused over here on Mr. O, when in reality, we've got this Barak over here who's also lightning. So something to consider there, very intriguing. But we're not done yet. So his first name is Amet, which means greatly praised. And we know that Satan wants to be praised. We know that the Antichrist will force people to worship him, bow down and worship him, and to bow down to his statue and take the mark. So he intends to be greatly praised. So that's intriguing name there. And also the last name means one who is born as a brave man, soldier, or warrior, brave warrior, or hawk, or fighter. Erdogan, as it's pronounced, or Erdogan, as we would say maybe in our own English language. But now here, this gives a little bit of account of him. So the question was, well, they're in sort of a hospital place in the dream, right? And she's running in. She has a white lab coat on, and she's running through these double doors like it's a hospital, only you could tell it's in a bunker sort of situation. Do they have any connection with the medical field? Well, it turns out they do. And as a matter of fact, he is he has a bachelor in medicine shipping, and a degree in that as well. Didn't know that you could get a degree in such a thing. But Medicine Shipping Limited, and his wife is a doctor. And she was now it's interesting, the quote that she has on her page here. She says, "Be less curious about people and more curious about ideas." But it kind of tells you how she feels about people, doesn't she? Has profiles on her that so that's her specific specialty. So here she is in her white lab coat, and very similar to what he saw in that dream. The sound is breaking up again? No. Man, what is going on here? Well, I'm just going to keep going at this point. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let me know. So, very intriguing. Let me know if it's how it's going out there with the sound. I see that you're saying the sound is not good. So, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, hello? It's fast forwarding my speech. Yes, sir, you can hear me okay? Thumbs up? Thumb good enough to keep going? Okay. Yes, keep going? Yes? Thumbs? I don't see any thumbs though. All right. Go. Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, so okay. No sound? There's no sound. No sound at all? Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Is it better? Getting better? Getting better? Yeah? I'm back? Okay, cool. Thank you so much. All right, let's hope we can wrap this up before it all goes down. So here's an article that she wrote on COVID to the D, okay? And so she's deep involved in this stuff, in everything that's going on now. In fact, this underground bunker may be where they're making this stuff. I mean, we don't really know. So they could be part of that whole thing. Thank you for the thumbs. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for the keep going. She could be, they could be behind all of that. I mean, for all we know, they may be making the poison. For all we know, we don't really know, but she has articles out there, or at least this one, about that. So very intriguing, right? But really, we don't know much about them. So is he about to be about the hadith? So as far as the MAHDI goes, okay, there's certain think about. Yay! Thank you for the encouragement. Thanks for letting me know. So that's great. I'm glad the sound came back. So as far as the MAHDI goes, what's really intriguing about this is they have these things that they're looking for. Now, again, we don't believe in these things, but they do, and so that's all that matters to them, right? So if they see somebody who fits that description as far as they're concerned, then they may very well follow him and consider him to be the Messiah. Now again, their Mahdi would of course be our anti-Messiah, right? Our Antichrist. And so here it says that Muhammad said that the Mahdi will be of my stock and will have a broad forehead, a prominent nose. He will fill the earth with equity and justice as it was filled with oppression and tyranny, and he will rule for, survey says, 7 years. 7 years. So we've got this prophecy in Ezekiel talking about 7 years following this sort of battle that happens. I don't even call it a full WAR, because they surround the city, as we see in Luke. As God says, when you surround the city, look up because your redemption draws near. So we're looking to get raptured out of here. Then they're excited because the rapture's happened. We're out of the way. And it could be that his father is taken out. Maybe that's by design. I mean, similar to the Q was taken out before the Chuckster took over, just conveniently at her 70-year mark. So it could be they do the same thing with Erdogan so that this guy can move in to the place. But they consider that he's going to be a younger guy, not based on this scripture, but other scriptures, that he'll have a broad forehead and a prominent nose. Well, another way that they put that prominent nose is they call it an aquiline nose. It says the Mahdi will have an aquiline nose. An aquiline nose is basically a nose that kind of breaks, that has a bend in it. And looking at his nose is very difficult to see because, again, there aren't many pictures. But looking from the side, it does look that there is a bit of a break toward the top. That it kind of goes down and then bends slightly and goes at a different angle from what I can see in this picture. And so I found that very intriguing, that he may indeed fit that. And he has a relatively broad forehead. It's certainly not a close to the brow forehead. And so he may indeed be someone who they feel fulfills what they're looking for in the Mahdi, and they're expecting him to come from Turkey. Now, I put his name... did a couple things with his name. I put his name into the famous word scrambler here, for anagrams. And what's interesting is the biggest word that comes out is groaned when you put Erdogan, which is, I think we're all groaning at the thought. So that kind of makes sense. Then we also get words like danger, dragon, gardens, also kind of interesting too, like Satan in the garden. So I think that's kind of intriguing. And then there's grand and some genital-related one there, and organs and other things here that are kind of intriguing. So I also thought about the name Gog and Magog, right? When you think about, the name Erdogan, kind of has a bit of a Gog flavor to it, Again, they don't necessarily mean the same thing, but kind of intriguing that it has that. And in the name is God backwards. You have dog in there. The Bible says outside are the dogs, and those who practice the arts. So you have Erdogan. So backwards the name is Nagodre, which apparently, according to one comment, is the name of a god in Turkey. Nagodre, which is his name backwards. And it sounds a little bit like Magog or Nagod. So there's a little bit of similarity there, kind of intriguing to think about. Again, Gog may not refer to an actual name, but more a group of people sort of thing. Also, I found this interesting. There's another name called There's Erdogan and Gundogan. So Doan is sort of the root of the word, and it means here it means being born. So that's interesting, being born too, because we've talked about that before with the Antichrist kind of being born onto the scene, being revealed. And there's even that word genomai that's in about being created and coming into being that's in there in that 2 Thessalonians 2 as well. But I thought it was interesting, he'll be using a lot of guns, of course. And I thought it was interesting that the name Gundogan means daybreaker, or sun being born, similar to morning star, which is another name for Lucifer. It's also a name for Christ, the true morning star, but it's also a name for Lucifer or Hillel, as we see in the Bible. So I thought that kind of intriguing also, but there's more. And I hope you're rocking your socks off of the root of his name, which is this God in the Bible named Dagon. And he was the chief god of the Philistines or the Palestinians. So I thought that was pretty amazing as well. And down here it says that Dagon was actually the father of Baal. You know, the false god Baal that everybody worshipped? He was the father of Baal. So you have Erdogan, and Dagon in the Bible is the chief of the Philistines or the Palestinians, like the people in Gaza. And also he is the father of the false god Baal. So I thought that was pretty amazing as well. And but there's more. And now his brother's name is Bilal. Bilal. Now again, they go by the middle name, it seems, when they're calling them. Because his first name is Nekmetin, which kind of sounds like necromancy or something. It sounds like something with the dead. And so Nekmetin, Bilal. Well, the name Bilal, as we know in the Bible, or very similar to that name, it says, on what harmony has Christ with Belial? Or what has a believer in common with an unbeliever? So isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what... That's a sock moment, would you say? Woohoo! I see the socks out there. Yeah, man. Rock the socks. I mean, this is pretty incredible because, you know, it's very similar to what Erdogan, and maybe I'll start calling him that, really said. He said it's the crescent versus the cross, or Christ versus Belial. You see? And so Belial actually means, if we look at the meaning of Belial, it actually means worthless or wicked. It's a name of Satan. Worthless or wicked. So that's the name of this guy. Woohoo! Rock the socks. Man, I mean, that is pretty amazing. And I got some new Rock the Socks I'm going to do for you guys, because I know some people were like, stop screaming. So, okay, I'm trying not to scream, but it's too exciting. I mean, it is pretty exciting stuff, but I'll try to do it down here. Rock the socks. Rock the socks. I'll try to do it lower for you. But I'm going to put some new ones out there that so you don't have to hear me scream as much. But, you know, I can't hold my excitement back. It's pretty exciting. But, guys, here's the real kicker. Sock, baby! Whoa! His name in Gematria is 666. Can you believe this? 666. So his name is Ahmet, right? Let me go back here for a second. Let me show you his name. His name is Ahmet Barak Erdogan, okay? Now we know Barak means lightning, right? Lightning, it's almost like a nickname. He's like lightning falling from heaven. But Ahmet Erdogan actually is, in Gematria, is actually 666. And I think I kind of stole my thunder there, but woo! Man, that's some sock rocking right there. Socks, baby! Socks, baby! Whoa, bring it! Socks! Man, we're running out. I'm having sound trouble and video troubles because this is being broken, okay? But can you believe that this guy's name in Gematria, both English Gematria and Sumerian Gematria, so I'll show you over here. Oh, wait, I got to put his name in here again. Sumerian, right there, the second row, second from the right on the second row. In Sumerian Gematria, Ahmet Erdogan is 666. So does, you know, the name of the beast, it says, and his name is 666, right? And it's right there. His name is 666. You don't even have to fudge it. You don't have to work it so hard. I mean, I haven't gone into the Greek and the Hebrew and Turkish. So I'd love to hear if any of you do that. Send it my way, and I'll share that as well. But what's interesting too is in ordinal, even it's a root of 666 because it's 111, which times 6 is 666. So can you believe that, guys? Does that not rock your socks to the moon? Does that not blow you away? Is that not incredible for the secret SON of Erdogan? Wow. 666. There it is. There she blows, people. You heard it here first by the power of the Lord. By the power of the Lord, you heard it here. That's right. 666 for the secret son who may just be about to be revealed. Hiding out in a bunker somewhere, doing medical experiments on people. Who knows? But I'm not done yet. There's still more. I can't believe it. The Lord is the great revealer. Woohoo! All right, I try to do it off mic as much as I can there. So hopefully I'm not hurting your ears too badly. But I got to share the excitement. Come on, we got to be excited about this. This is too amazing. Talk about the origins and how it relates to Satan. And, maybe I got to move this down a little bit for you. But anyway, I talk about that in this video. So go check out this video. It's only 20 minutes long. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. It's very intriguing what all the meanings are here. So, as you remember, I did a video also recently on Hamas being in the Bible, right? And how Hamas actually means violence. It's actually literally the mind in the Bible. The sound again. Okay. Oh, man, it's back again. Okay, thank you. Sorry you're having so much trouble there. Man, oh, man. They're really messing with us, aren't they? Dragon, yep. Okay. Looks like it came back again. Okay, but anyway, so Hamas in the Bible is we talking about. So all these things are in the Bible, guys. It's really amazing, and so the same goes for the mark of the beast. So we know his name equals 666, as we just saw. But the mark of the beast is also in play here as well. So it is kind of intriguing that the mark of the beast looks like SEX backwards. So that's already something, because that's one of the primary sinful tools that Satan uses to destroy mankind. So I find that intriguing in and of itself. But also, when you take the mark of the beast in its original, in the original Hebrew, or the original, it's actually a little bit. I'm not Hebrew; it's Greek, but it's even goes beyond Greek. In fact, that last letter, they don't even know the origin of the letter. It looks like an S. Also looks like a serpent. But I talk about that in the other video. It's very intriguing. But if you turn that on its side, it actually means Allah, or our God is Allah, rotated 90 degrees clockwise and flipped over to the horizontal. And so it literally is the name of their false god. And here we see it says in the name of Allah. So when you put it on the side and you take the two swords, remember we talked about in Ezekiel, it says they're going to be with swords in their hands. And then you take the middle letter there of 666, and you've got Allah, their false god name, that's going to be on the forehead and on the hands. And no sound again. Oh my goodness! Wow, this is something else. I'm sorry, you guys. Sorry, there's been so much trouble. On my end, I checked it, and it seemed like everything is good. It seemed like the stream connection is good. But I think they're, like you said, they're probably doing something on the other side of things. Okay, but in any case, so, basically it looks like SEX backwards. It's also, which is Satan's number one tool of sin. And then we've also got, it looks like their false god when he turned on its side, right? And we've got this and this is what they wear on their foreheads and on the hands, right? He's going to command us to wear that, right? So you guys can hear me okay now, I'm hoping, out there. Okay. So anyway, well, guess what, guys? They are actually already wearing it on their foreheads. It's already on the forehead. So, in fact, that's part of their deal, right? It's part of, say you're part of this club, you wear the bandana on your forehead, and you're already wearing that mark right there, as you can see, the name and the number of the beast, right? And they're also tattooing it on their right hands. And the Bible says it will be on your right hand and it will be on your forehead. So you could argue that there is a connection there between what, their false god and the mark of the beast as well. So I hope this rocked your socks tonight. I'm sorry there was so much trouble with sound and video, and hopefully we won't have that problem again. But I guess when you're talking about the truth, things like that are bound to happen. But I appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with me here. And thanks so much for supporting this ministry. It allows me to spend time, and it takes a lot of time to put these videos together, as you can imagine, finding all this information. And thank you also to those who help. Shout out to Oriana. She helped me find some things today. And, and all those who help out to make this ministry go and allow me to do this. So praise the Lord for your support. And if you could hit that like button, comment button, and obviously share these videos, because they don't want it to be shared. So we need you to share it, because you're not going to find it in any comments. You're not going to find it when you search. Hey, thanks for subscribing, Kenya. I see that there. You're not going to find it just by searching. People aren't going to find it, unfortunately. So we need your help. We need your help to share these videos. Woohoo! Thanks, Nicole, for all the socks. Yeah, man. I hope this rocked your socks tonight, man. It was definitely exciting for me. And good to be with all you guys. I'm going to be in the after video chat, so just click the first link in the description of this video that you're watching right now and join me over in the after video chat. And be sure to subscribe to Makayo Messenger, Makayo Ministries, and Makayo Music if you would be so kind to do that. And I'm going to be over there now in the after video chat. So when you go into the room, you just swipe to the right and go to the left side, and you'll find the after video chat, and you can join us there. Guys, Jesus is coming back, in case you didn't know that. So what are you waiting for? Get up, be baptized, wash your sins away, and call on his name. You know what I'm saying? It's time to get right with God. It's time to turn away from your dark, depressing, discouraging, decrepit life, which is what the world is. We all have one. We got to turn away from. We got to die to that life, and we got to start a whole new life. We got to be born again. When you're born again, you start a new life, right? You don't live that way anymore. You die to those things, and you start living a new life with Christ. We help people get right with God. If you need help with that, come on over and we can help you with that too. We have another channel, Makayo Ministries, where we talk deeper about what it means to be saved and how to have a relationship with God and so forth. So I hope you'll do that as well. But guys, I love you. It's been great hanging out with you tonight, and I hope to see you over in the after video chat and over in the fellowship. Guys, I love you. Wishing you all the best and all the blessed, and Maranatha.